It has been 4 months since the Maple Leafs have taken part in official practice here at the Ford Performance Center in Toronto, but Chris Johnston, they are back. Day one of training camp is in the book, so Chris, I'll ask you, what do you think was maybe the most newsworthy or noteworthy thing that happened on day one?
Well, we're all a little rusty, but I won't flub this one on you, Shawn. I mean, clearly Auston Matthews coming out and confirming to reporters that he did have a positive COVID-19 test, would rank as the most newsworthy development. And I don't think it's so much to do with him confirming the reports that were out there as much as, how it's impacted his preparedness for this season. And Auston was able to say he didn't have a lot of symptoms, so that didn't, cause any issues for him in that regard. But he did have to stay in his home in Scottsdale for 2.5 to 3 weeks. That was a period where he couldn't go and skate as he had been doing prior to contracting the coronavirus. And so I think that that's left him feeling, maybe not quite as prepared as he would prefer to be at the start of this camp. And so, I don't know that this is a huge, major underlying worry for the Leafs, given that there's players all over the league that didn't even have a chance to skate on a regular basis through that 4 months. But, it's certainly something that bears watching as Auston gets more up to speed and ready for the games soon to come.
So whether it's Auston Matthews not being able to skate for a few weeks due to a positive COVID test, or a guy like you mentioned who might not have access to ice or a gym or a weight room, just what is Sheldon Keefe doing throughout this 2-week training camp to make sure that conditioning is the focus and that guys get up to speed fast?
Well, it's all well and good to get conditioning up, and we saw on the first day of practice, he had a few scrimmages there. I think he wanted to introduce that competitive element, something they haven't been able to do in the small group workouts that have happened beforehand. But you also got to get there healthy, and I think that is the challenge facing Sheldon Keefe. It's something that he's aware of and has acknowledged. In fact, he said that they're going to review after every day their plan. It's not, typically training camp's laid out from the first day until the last on a very specific schedule. But I think in this case, he recognizes they might have to ease off or push the pedal down a little bit depending on where the group is at. Because, of utmost importance is, yes, getting everyone feeling fit and in their best condition, but also having a full complement of lineup on August 2nd when the puck drops on their qualifying round series with Columbus. So, it's a bit of a fine line right now. And I think they're still feeling their way around it. But, the first day, I'll say this, Shawn, was very, very high tempo, competitive, and those players will be tired.
Now, it's been a long layoff for all the Maple Leafs, but especially long for Ilya Mikheyev, who hasn't suited up in game action since December. He's expected to be back in the lineup. He's taken part in training camp on a line with Mitch Marner and John Tavares. Chris, just how much of a boost to the Maple Leafs would having Mikheyev back be?
Well, if he's the Mikheyev he was when he got injured, I think that has the ability to really tilt the scales in the Leafs' favor. And remember, Shawn, when he got injured in New Jersey, end of December, the Leafs never really properly replaced him, at least in my estimation, on that line. They tried Kasperi Kapanen on his off wing on the left side there. He was never really comfortable. It didn't produce great results. You had Alex Kerfoot move up from the third line center spot. Well, that threw out the balance in their bottom six forwards. And so, if Mikheyev is able to fill the spot he was at when he got that injury, play alongside Tavares and Marner, produce, because he was starting to produce offensively in that role at the time. I think it's a huge boost to the Leafs. It gives them a lot more depth throughout the lineup. And, probably the benefit of his injuries, he's been skating for a long time. But, we still got to see where the conditioning's at or more the timing and those types of things, because it's one thing to have your legs for you, but going that long between games is a real challenge.
Well, Chris, thank you very much. Day one of training camp is in the books as we inch closer and closer to the return of the NHL.